If you want to save money on your trading card purchases, we have a promo link over at 50cards.shop. Enter the promo code ATNIGHT to get 5% off your order. Hey everybody, welcome to Nexus at Night, your weekly Vanguard podcast. I'm Atlas.
I'm still Matt.
I'm Root Beer.
You know he's pissed off when he says I'm still mad at the beginning of the episode. That's that can't be good for any of us.
What could he possibly have said? Oh, you're also playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth?
I mean, no, but I'm also not up on, because I'm like the other two of us aren't on East Coast time, which is a problem, I've heard.
No,
it couldn't be. Anyway, so Ridelines, there's a lot of them.
Can you stop, please?
Why? What happened? Did I miss something?
Funny thing is, like, I floated this idea last week when they were like teasing the new ride line, and now that the actual ride line has been revealed, I am incredibly unimpressed by it.
What does it do?
Man, you're gonna make me pull it up.
Yes.
I hate you.
Synchro, Heart, Andra, all that stuff?
Yes.
Okay,
so I have it up. I'll just share my screen. It's faster.
All right. Yeah, your turn this time. If I'm doing all the work on the the set reviews.
Yeah, so now I do want to say I came up with this idea before we got the actual ride line, but anyway, so the whole ride line has the same ability where if you have the previous grade in the chain, you can ride for free. And then grade 1 has a rear guard ability where at the start of your battle phase, if you have a grade 3 or greater with Gry in its name, you can rest it, choose one of your back row cards with Andra in its card name, and until end of turn, that unit attacks from back row and gets 10k. Andra is just a 15k attacker. Gry Andra, which is technically both of them. At the beginning of your main phase, you rest it, and then you choose a grade 1 each of a grade 2 or less card with Gry and a grade 2 or less with Andra in its name. Call them from soul to rearguard circle and then it gets red text. At the end of the battle, your rearguard with Andra and its card name attacked. You put the attacking unit back into your soul. So you put it and a rearguard with Gry in its name back into your soul, restand it, and your front row gets 10k.
This just sounds like a lot of jumping through hoops for like what, a fourth battle?
Yep.
What the hell?
There's also an order that when you give one of your Vanguards the ability that when it stands, all of your front row get 10k until end of turn. And I think people are more hyped about this for like Dragonic Overlord than they are about the actual deck.
This seems like a lot of extra steps to get something that you could make much more straightforward.
With like Gandiva or whatever.
Yeah. Anyways, the rest of the support, the grade 1 retires a back row. That's grade 1 or less. This guy lets you draw a card for Energy Blast 3, and then when a unit with Gry or Andra attacks, it gets power plus 5,000. So I guess it would just become like a 10k or plus 10k if your rear guard and Vanguard attack. So I guess it's big.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Dust Storm guy, the grade 3. You counterblast 1, choose one of the units with the names, and it gets 5k. So you're just going to give it to the grade 2 so that it becomes 30k. And then if you do, draw a card. And then when the unit with either name attacks, then it gets power plus 5,000. And I don't think either of these are once per turn on the power gain, so they just say plus 10k.
Yeah. That's funny that it's a Dust Storm card, implying that it's going to be Eugene support. But instead, no, it's this new thing. I remember when Ridelines were first coming out, and we kind of expressed annoyance that they were subdividing the nations anyway by having these Ridelines.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's become so stratified with so many Ridelines that have been made and forgotten.
Yes.
And made and forgotten that it's like, what's the point anymore?
Yes. I generally try not to be like, why does this exist? I know Matt does it all the time, but
what do you mean? We do that all the time. That's the MO of this show. Be honest with yourself.
No, I try to give Rideline credit when we do set reviews and stuff, but this is definitely the first time I've looked at a Rideline. I'm like, no, actually, why does this exist?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the actual gameplay loop, it's fine, right? You're gonna get so assuming everything goes right, you're at plus 30k on your front row, and none of this is locked to your opponent being grade 3. So you can be super aggro, and you have decent draw power, so it's probably fine. But who cares?
Do you ever think Boucher is sitting there designing cards and then just adding more steps to get to the same end result and being like, we did it, we designed a sick card?
Yeah. But even in the last set, they at least had other gimmicks, right? They had defensive things going on.
Yeah.
This was just what if you could attack but harder?
It seems to me, okay, so there's probably two ways that they do the card design, which is either they start with the end result and they're like, this is what I want the deck to do. I want the deck to call things from the bind zone. And then you work backwards and you get Gandiva. Or you start designing cards from a specific sort of mechanic.
Also, calling things from bind zone is absolutely not what Gandiva does at all.
Sorry, top of deck. Direful Dolls and Gandiva got crossed in my brain. But let's say you do that versus, okay, maybe okay, this thing makes plant tokens, but what if we make it a super plant token? And then that's how you end up with Aurora, that sort of thing.
No,
it's that's from the top down or the bottom.
No, Aurora is not a super plant token. That's Grand Fia. Aurora has a defensive ability, and then Radalina calls a different token that can eat your other tokens.
Oh, right, because Aurora and Grand Fia kind of work together, but not really. Or they have some crossover.
No. Grand Fia randomly has all of its support tacked onto Leonorn for some reason.
Right, okay, shit. Okay. The
Aren't you
names
the Stoicheia guy?
Do you see what I'm getting at? Where there's so many names that all there's this part of me that gets really annoyed when a TV show comes out with a title that's so generic that it sounds like it could be anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Or a movie, right? You, her, us, shit like that. The Stoicheia, Rorua, Grand Fia, that sort of thing. It all just kind of turns into a soup into my brain. And especially with the epilepsy and the brain fog meds that I have to take constantly, it's not good for me.
Yeah. No, I do think they're starting to run out of ideas in some ways, because I don't know, aesthetically, thematically, I don't think this deck is really doing a lot. The thing this deck is doing new, its gimmick of resting itself and then calling out the other two things and then restanding itself. It's all kind of a convoluted way of just playing what Rora does. So I mentioned that you have Radalina in the deck, she makes a token, and then that token eats all of the other tokens. And Radalina can copy the power from the Momoke token. This was thematically and aesthetically, this is a dude and his dragon, which has been done by Radalina. Gameplay wise, the theme there is also very similar, where he's getting power from his dragon guy. We also just had the triple drive booster, which is a guy and his pet, which is why I made that one tweet of corporate wants you to find the difference between these two pictures.
Mm-hmm. See, what would happen in Boom or Vanguard or G or whatever is you would have these little subclans and archetypes and stuff, and after a while they would throw you some legacy support, but they're kind of not doing that. If you get anything for your Rideline of choice, it's a card.
Yeah, well, they also just make a lot of generic cards recently.
Recently, yes, but
yeah,
not they don't have a pattern of that. And I know why they're doing it. It's because they don't want power creep to get out of control, which fine. But
I mean, I don't know that I would say that was the reason. It's just like the way nations are. Like, of course, they're going to make like generic nation cards. They always have at least one in every set. But I do think they're struggling to keep up with all of the different ride lines that exist, because in set 2, we have like more token support for all of the terrible TDs. We have like generic cards that they have to make. You know, they're shoving in legacy support. So Tuesday on stream, we got stuff for Solarion and Gondiva, which is probably why you were thinking about it.
Probably.
You know, we have to have obligatory like new ride lines, so we haven't gotten the faded one for Dark States yet, and we just got Zorga revealed in the anime. It's going to be properly revealed on Tuesday. Also, Zorga is just make more attacks, by the way. Like, the divine skill just restands a column.
It's I mean, they weren't letting you do that before, so
I mean, you had like Keel.
Yeah, they had. Is that the zombie guy with the scythe that like pops itself out of drop, or with the 5K power? Or am I thinking of something else? Okay, it's that guy. All right, yeah. So like that took forever for them to get. Mm-hmm. Like if they are giving you an extra attack, like it's a big freaking deal. They're like, we will give you just a little.
Yeah, I can stop sharing now.
Yeah, just a sprinkle.
Anyways, Matt's dead.
Yep.
Oh, sorry.
It's not your fault. It's I had to. So the power in my apartment was out, so I had to go reset the breaker. And it's raining outside. So
yeah. Oh, rain in California. Look at that.
Yeah.
Anyways, do you think a dam will collapse? No, I think one of the run off collapsed, right? The runoff channels.
Yeah, it was like in one of the canyons, like near Malibu. Had a landslide a few weeks ago.
You know, American infrastructure and failing. Name a better pairing.
Yeah. And then you tell that to someone from the 1950s, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. We're having the freeways built, and it's the best time ever. I don't know why. If you want to hear us talk about other random stuff, like that? Because that's what they sounded like in the 1950s. Patreon.com/Nexus at night. What?
Who's there?
My parents were.
Oh.
Yeah. My parents had me old. So anyway, too many goddamn ride lines. Yeah.
And because Bushiroad does this thing where they have to like follow a pattern, like I get the distinct feeling we're gonna have new ride lines for every other nation, I guess, except for Lyrical, because Lyrical already has like twice as many ride lines as every other nation.
Right.
So they're just gonna give legacy support there. But yeah, I'm just going to assume that like Keter, Brantgate, what was the other one? Okay, we just got the Dragon Empire one, so yeah, it's like Keter and Brantgate are the other ones that would probably get like new ride lines, and then Lyrical, they're just giving support to one of the existing archetypes, which we're getting next week.
Jeez.
But yeah, because that's the thing, right? Like, for whatever because of the way the anime is scheduled, they decided to put Zorga and the Dark States ride line into set 2. So that means, like, for set 1, like, half the nations were getting new ride lines, but those two weren't. So they had to give, like, other ride lines to make up. But now those cards have ride lines, and then the other 3 nations didn't. So they're making more ride lines for your ride lines.
I think the other part that sucks is that every time they print like more of these ride lines that like I guess matter or whatever, instead of like genericizing like a fair bit of it, which is quite easy to do because they all like, here's if you have the right thing, you plus, and then it has like some small built-in rear guard. Like every set just has like 20 wasted cards because you have to have or not 20, but like
a chunk,
a chunk of wasted cards because everyone has to have the ride line in there.
Yeah,
like and 15 cards are just always the ride line.
Yeah, and they'll do stuff where it's like if it's for this or this ride line, you get to do this, and then they'll.
Yeah, but they haven't even really done that in a while.
You're right, they haven't, but they A, didn't expand upon it, and B, didn't really keep it or like widespread enough anyway for it to matter. I feel like if they wanted to do like the next step, where instead of just waffling on the same make a new ride line every few sets, it'll be like, okay, maybe on this one it's just for this ride line, and then for this card in the next set it's like Grand Fia and Roroa and Leonord, and then the next set after and blah blah blah
you
blah
could
blah.
differentiate these things by like giving them abilities that like make it differential, like that differentiate them. Like, oh, if you just have like a generic set order right line for Brancate, you don't have to worry about this shit every freaking time.
Yeah.
But yet, here we are.
I guess set 13 they didn't make like new ride lines, they just had new forms, but like
I think
still
so, yeah.
kind of count. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like when was the last time they
It was like a cherry on top for a lot of them.
I have to go look through every fucking set.
I still think that at least for the hands, they should just
that
make hands with different letters, because they already made like L and R. You can just do.
Okay, so I guess so. The Craycross line, no, the Craycross lines introduced new ride lines because they have the encounter card. Yeah, no, it's been a while since they've gone without like releasing a new ride line.
It's been a while.
So
What they could have done is they could have had like a special keyword related to the ride line. So like you could have like, I don't know, call it like, it doesn't matter what you call it, but like, ride line deck 1, right? And like if the card you ride on is a ride line deck 1, you can do an effect. So that way you can like mix and match different features of a ride line, which could create different results for people that might care, but also just makes it completely generic, but you still keep it to a set of cards, right?
Kind of reminds me of the clan specific keywords just a little bit.
That is something I wanted to bring up, was like the system of clans versus nations, because one of the things about nations compared to clans is because there's only 5 of them, like each clan is a little bit broader than or each nation is a bit broader than a lot of the individual clans within the nation, right? So like back in the day, they could just kind of print a card that was like, do clan thing, and it like didn't really matter like what the actual like specific archetype was, because they all vaguely did the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, moving over to the way like D works with the ride lines and then the nation system, like it's harder for them to just make these like one-off bosses that you'll maybe play for a couple of sets and then some new thing comes out that you're doing instead.
Right. Now, in the case of nations, when they came out, we brought up that would mean, in theory, that you would usually have something to gain from every set, versus in the past, if your clan wasn't in the set, you're not paying attention or buying into the set, because why would you?
And I think that is still generally true, especially in more recent sets. They've been making the more generic cycle cards.
Yeah, so that's at least a more recent fix, but for a while there, it was just like, my ride line's not in this set. Bye, bitch. Like, I'm not paying attention.
Like, I think their Band-Aid solution for like Will Dress was that they just kept making new forms of existing units. So basically all the masks.
Right.
Like the masks were kind of a way that they could like keep making new ride lines and force you to buy new triple Rs, but like it's still kind of the same guy.
But he's evil now. I mean, that happened back in reverse too.
Yeah.
Same principle. Leopold reverse. Ride or die. Matt, I know you agree with me.
All right. Adding to my list of projects that I will probably.
So you didn't play the Grade 3 Searcher when you played that deck?
What, Leo reverse? Well, no, because the grade 3 Searcher in like Boomer Vanguard. Oh, the like shove and sold check top 5. Yeah, you did.
You have to.
Yeah.
If you don't hit chat nowhere, you lose.
Yeah.
What
What was it,
Also-
like Acorn Master something? Yeah.
Comparing like mask and reverse units is probably going to be one of the many projects that I barely work on during the work week.
He's doing better than I am on the episode 2.
I did my taxes
Mystery
this
Vendor.
week. Ask me anything.
Good
Oh, nice.
job. I'm proud of you.
I need to like renew. I have to go like roll over my CD in next week. Also, I should probably go file my taxes at some point, but
Nah.
Me too.
What are they gonna do? Find you?
Nexus at night.
Financial-
Podcast.
the financial advice podcast.
Yeah.
Please do not take financial advice from this podcast.
No, we
Please
shouldn't. Yeah.
Don't take financial advice from card game players.
Yes. Oh my god. Yeah. Like I was talking to my wife the other day and she was saying, like, do you ever get mad at me for spending so much on makeup? I'm like, do you see this? Do you see how much money I spend on cards? And she's like, no, I kind of don't. And I'm like, well, it's not. I don't know if they
as much as I spend on it, so you're already winning there.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's not that bad because there are much more expensive games.
Yeah, definitely. But it's still like I would be a complete hypocrite if I was to get mad at her for.
Sorry, I
That
had to
kind
buy
of
this
thing.
Die Star engine. Please forgive me.
God,
That'd be a much harder sell, I think.
Yeah.
$1,400 tier 0 deck. Let's go.
Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yes.
Fire King? Yeah.
Not even Fire King, like the Snake Eye engine specifically, because that's
Ah.
also its own deck.
Right. But I know it's like tied to Fire King a lot recently.
Like
It's tied
the
to everything.
the stronger variant is the Fire King version, or the more represented one, but also Snake Eyes on its own is a deck that's like the second best deck in the format. So
Can you count that as like it's just the same deck, but with something else, right?
Yeah, you count it because I mean, classically in every card game, you've counted like variations of a similar strategy.
Right.
And you get to weigh the pros and cons of each variant. But like it's a singular strategy, like that's not lost to anybody. But like you care about like what you gain from either removing an engine or adding an engine.
Yeah, but like the way we're referring to it, instead of Snake Eye or Snake Eye with Fire King, we're calling it Fire King with Snake Eye.
no, people are calling it Snake Eye Fire King. Like
Okay,
people
all
are
right.
referring to the Snake Eye engine.
Gotcha.
When
Yeah,
they talk
it was
about the
like one of my coworkers the other day said instead of ice cream, like they're putting emphasis on the wrong word,
On the wrong syllable. Oh, on the
Yeah.
wrong word even.
on the wrong syllable, like
The
that.
syllable, yeah. Emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Yeah. So yeah, kind of the same principle with the Fire King Snake Eye thing. So it's just Snake Eye, the game over, but with like whatever flavor.
Yeah, no, it's definitely
Okay.
like the Snake Eye part of the deck that's like tier 0.
Gotcha.
I mean,
Maybe
yeah,
it's just because like they gotta get your attention to it somehow. So they gotta like start with the Fire King. I don't know.
there was a format in Magic where there was like it's known as Eldrazi Winter, but there were like 3 different Eldrazi decks people were playing.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't lost to anybody. They were all just using the same fucking engine of Eldrazi.
Yeah.
It's just
But-
like different colors just gave you access to a couple different cards, and then you weighed the pros and cons of this.
So I think what might be tripping you up is I think like Fire King on its own was a playable deck before like the full
Yes.
Snake Eye engine was released.
That's
So
it.
I think like Popular came out after like Diabell Star,
Popular?
right?
I know that's what I thought too. You're gonna be
Yeah.
popular. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think because I'm pretty sure because I know in Master Duel the whole package just came out together. But I think in the physical card game, Popular came out after Diabell Star originally.
How many of them
I
are
remember-
URs?
Popular's a UR, Wanted is a UR, Diabell Star's a UR,
Hell yeah.
Seeker is a UR.
Yep. They got the proper poise.
Sure.
Sure. Voice. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's probably still cheaper to get it in Master Duel than IRL.
Well, yeah.
We got really off track, and now I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fine. I was just kind of like, I think the thing I wanted to get to was like comparing like the way like clans and nations are affecting like the design of boss monsters
right.
and like how the frequency with which they come out.
Yeah. And it's
I think a lot of these ride lines could be consolidated if they had thought about it going in.
Especially because like sometimes they definitely just release ride lines out of obligation to fill time in the anime.
right. Gotta have
Because,
a new
like,
character playing.
I
a new
don't
thing.
imagine anyone actually using Gryandra in the anime, right?
I don't think so. And then on top of that, like if the mechanic is weak from the get-go, you don't really have much of a way to build off of it aside from like doing the mask thing, right? The what's her face? What's the one that you built that's like terrible for Dark States? That's a mask deck.
Who is
Where
the
it's
boss
like
for Dark States?
Oh,
if you have like
this fucker.
what her, yeah. This is the like example that I'm thinking of, where like the mechanic itself is just kind of
Bad.
Yeah. So even with an improvement from the mask thing, it's like not
Is
enough.
the mask version even an improvement? I feel like people still play like 3-4 copies of the original and
I
only
don't
use the
know.
mask like late game.
I haven't seen anybody play it.
Yeah, nobody plays
Except
this
for
deck.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's true. Nobody plays this fucking deck. It is like one of the most dead decks
Okay.
in the entire game.
Straw man argument aside, I just like it doesn't. Gandiva was such a strong like just base to work off of versus that.
I mean, that's the thing is Almagestar came out the set before. But like I think like people hyped it up during set 9 because waifu deck, and then they actually played it and realized it was fucking awful. And I don't see anybody talk about the deck anymore, except for like every now and then some pet decker will be like, I played this deck.
Pet decker. That's a good name. Yeah, I always keep saying that Magnolia is at least a little playable, but like
I mean, Magnolia has been tiered at some point. Like the mask version got a couple of tops in Japan.
Yeah.
So like Magnolia is at least defensible.
Much like my beloved Great Nature, it's just kind of like okay at
Also,
the very
they're
least.
still supporting Magnolia.
That's true. Yeah, I was super stoked when they were like, "Hey, the Grade 4 is coming back." I was like, "I kept the Grade 4. This is gonna be awesome."
And then, yeah, they basically just gave you the mask support before the Grade 4, which I think is fine.
Yeah, I can just go back to what I had before.
Yeah,
start using Galadot again. Yeah,
and I think the other disappointing thing is that like, at least early in D, it seems like there was an effort to try and like slow down a bit, because I know DBT2, it had the encounter cards, but otherwise, like everything else was just support for the previous ride lines. And especially now that we're going into a new era, I do think they're like cramming in a lot with new ride lines, support for old ride lines, and then they still have to support all of the new decks that they just released. And they're like printing support for the trial deck cards too. It's just like there's so much that they're trying to like cram into a set this early into a new era.
They should have taken their time. I feel like maybe because it was the second reboot that we were like, all right, you better fucking impress us if this is what you're gonna do again, you know?
Yeah.
They felt obligated to, make a big splash. We have had a lot less patience than we did the first time. Which even then I can't remember if we were super happy about it.
About what?
I think part of it is that like set 2 probably didn't make very much money. Like I remember a lot of the cards being pretty cheap, like within the like $10-15 range for like the best cards, which is compare that to what the prices are now.
Yeah. No, I said like I can't remember what our opinion was of the first reboot, like were we stoked on it?
I'm gonna go use the restroom, but keep talking.
It didn't seem like, I can't remember if we were stoked on it. We have the record of us talking.
Sure, I'm not gonna go check that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go back and check it. Please, somebody go back and listen to the
Are you talking about V or the D boot?
V. I'm talking about the V boot. Where like the first time the reboot happened, were we happy about it? Because I know we were kind of frustrated with
The first
Bermuda.
time,
Yeah.
the first time, I don't know. I was like kind of interested. I was like, I remember myself being like, yeah, sure, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah, cautiously
And then-
optimistic.
And then, well, I became less and less excited as we learned more.
Yeah, as gifts became more and more insane. I think I defended them for longer, like I usually do.
Happens.
But as time goes on and I get more and more pissed off at Dex just like spamming Excel 2s.
And
I
now
think-
V is a plague.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was like cautiously optimistic for V. I liked being able to go back to like an earlier time in Vanguard with the reboot, but like hindsight being 2020, V was a goddamn mistake.
Yeah.
And that's why they should sunset it. Anybody? Huh?
Nope.
They're not
Just gonna keep it there, but not actually support it. Easy.
Yep. Just let it rust like a car in the front yard. Anyway, did we have anything else to say? Maybe hold off on the Ridelines, guys. Maybe talk about like supporting your stuff more, your pre-existing stuff, like
No,
Barrel Magnus.
No.
He hasn't gotten.
Oh,
anything.
right.
I think all the ride lines should be triple R's.
Yeah.
All the triple R slots should just be the ride line.
Also doubly frustrating is when they just kind of force like support into promos instead of putting them in sets.
Don't even get me fucking started on that
Oh
shit.
my god, yeah.
The one thing that's the most frustrating about Japanese card games is they'll just throw promos as like, this will be a promo for this specific event. Or in Weiss, they once did it where DVDs came with a random promo. Or sorry, Blu-rays came with a random promo.
Interesting.
And one of those promos was good.
I remember, like, in Barnes and Noble, Yu-Gi-Oh manga used to have promos in it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they still do that, but you would like go into the Barnes and Noble, look in the back, like, is the promo still there? And, like, not buy the issue if it had it. I think the funniest part about this part of the conversation is for people listening. Rip Beer's in the bathroom, so like the stuffed thing he has behind him is sitting there, but we can still hear him.
That is root beer.
So it just sound. It's him.
Yeah.
Obviously,
He's got a
just
slice
giant
of
pink
cheese
octopus.
with a slice of cheese on his head or whatever it is.
I thought it was butter.
It's an onion ring.
Oh, it's an onion. Okay, we were both wrong.
Look,
Yeah.
it looks like a square from my angle, except it's
Yeah.
flat.
It does look like a square. The promo thing, like I think I've had this rant in me already with the because in Japan it's easier to get around, that the dropping random promos for this and that event is much easier when people can just take a train
Yes,
to where they need to go. Like the public transit is
correct.
good enough to where that's a thing, whereas in the United States that is just not the
It's
case.
also just a lot closer, right?
Yeah.
But here you're like, oh yeah, we have this event in LA with a promo, and you're like, I'm in Kansas or some shit, and you're like, fuck me.
Yeah, or you just have your one locals and that's it. You know, you can't be like, I'm going to go to this local, then this one, then this other one. Then like it just doesn't translate too well stateside.
And so you go chase down cards elsewhere.
Yeah. Or just go on TCG Player where they've inflated the price and cry.
Well, it'd be like that.
Yeah. That's why if you're in for my Los Angeles listeners out there, vote yes on Measure HLA on the elections this coming March 5th. So this coming Tuesday, when you hear this, it's the measure states that anytime that Los Angeles has to repave a road or a road, they have to put in bus and bike lanes along with it. Which will decrease traffic because with more viable forms of public transportation, people will drive less, which means less cars on the road, which means less traffic. You're welcome. Yeah, that's the thing that I rant about. Anyway, if I'm getting to this part, I'm pretty sure the episode's done. Root Beer, is there anything to add? Thing sitting on the bed?
No, I think I got it all out.
Matt, how about you?
I'm dying.
All right, then. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Nexus at Night. Thanks, Darren, Cole, Josh, Jeremy, GR, Ali, our $10 patrons. If you want to be one of them, get your videos and stuff a day early. Get thanked at the end of the videos. Also, a bonus show every week. Patreon.com/Nexus at Night. $5 a month. You get the bonus show. $10 a month. You get the thanks and all that, and the early videos and stuff. Or if you just want to support the show, it's $1. I can find that in the couch. You can also hit us up at Nexus at Night, Twitter, Instagram, all that other stuff. How about the rest of us?
Find me at Wiggums. 2 G's. 2 Z's.
You can find me at Plasma Eclipse.
I don't want to know what that rustling is. You can find me at Atlas Novak in all the places.
I'm making a snack.
It's a bag of chips.
Check me out on my other podcast, Generation Dan. That is a comedy podcast about generational differences, and I'm also starting up a history show soon. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, thanks everybody for listening. Until next time, I was Atlas.
I'm tired.
I'm Root Beer.
And have a good night, everybody.